Weird story. Parents, brace for impact. Earmuffs, kids. Lily Allen says having children totally ruined her career, and parents can't have it all. Career coaches say she's right. Again, folks, relax because this is Insider. Insider, the person that probably wrote this doesn't have any kids. Probably. This is speculation. We'll actually verify that as well. So Lily Allen openly discusses the impact of parenthood on her career, bluntly stating, yes, my children ruined my career, and rejecting the notion of having it all, asserting, quite frankly, you can't, as she reflects on her decision to prioritize her children over pop stardom, emphasizing some people choose their career over their children. That's their prerogative. But my parents were quite absent when I was a kid, and I feel like that left some nasty scars that I'm not willing to repeat on mine. Career coaches Elizabeth Pearson and Sarah Madera echo Allen's sentiment, acknowledging the challenges faced by working parents, with Pearson emphasizing the struggles of balance and family and career responsibility, stating it doesn't mean we don't love our kids, but if people think that kids don't tie an anchor around your ankle while you're trying to swim in an ocean with crashing waves, they're high. Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, I used to wonder why filicide in the United States was up. F-I-L-I-C-I-D-E. Just go look that up. And now I think I understand. I think I understand why filicide in the United States is up. But I think what a horrible thing. If you're trying to set, I love you, I care for you, now that you're in my life, I'm going to do what I can to raise you and to give you a vision and a last name you'll be proud of. And then, this is horrible, how can you hate your kids like this? How can you just, not like your kids? What do you think's going to happen? It's just horrifying to me. That's what I think about it. And now these kids are going to grow up and they're not going to care for their parents. They're not going to take care of their parents in retirement. What a surprise.
Look, I have this conversation.
By the way, what video is this, Rob? What video? Is this her saying that?
Yes, this is Lily Allen.
I actually want to see how she says it. Go ahead.
Never really had a strategy when it comes to career. But yes, my children ruined my career.
What the?
I mean, I love them and they complete me. But in terms of pop stardom, totally ruined it. Yeah.
That's such a good answer. I'm so happy to hear someone say that. Everyone's like, no, of course not.
Does not mix. And really annoys me when people say you can have it all because, quite frankly, you can't. And, some people choose their career over their children and that's their prerogative. But, my parents were quite absent when I was a kid and I feel like that really left some, nasty scars that I'm not willing to, to repeat on mine. And so I chose stepping back and concentrating on them. And I'm glad that I've done that because I think they're pretty well-rounded people.
By the way, it sounds worse than the way she did it. It sounds a lot less mean but I do have thoughts on this as well. Go ahead.
No, you can't. This is why you can't just read into the headlines because the headlines basically you would suppose that she hates her kids and she regrets having kids. She's actually saying the exact opposite, and she's basically saying what I tell women all the time is that I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very close to impossible as a woman that you can't have it all. You can't be the biggest pop star in the world, but then also be a good mother and be home with your children. It's impossible unless you're, Joe Biden. You have a fake person out there running around like Vinny accuses Biden of. But
Body
you can't have it all.
5.
Exactly. You can't do it all. She's basically saying that the children ruined her career, meaning, look, if you're not familiar with Lily Allen, she was basically a British big singer. She was, like Amy Winehouse, if you remember her, pretty big. This is like 2006, 2008. She had some massive songs in the early to mid 2000s. But, I had a conversation on Minnect yesterday. We've all done thousands plus Minnects. I would say the vast majority, 90% of the conversations I have are with men. And a lot of times it's money, success, vision, career, self-improvement, all that. With women, it always gravitates back to family and kids. The conversation I had with the lady yesterday, it started off the conversation. She said, what's the best investment for me? Is it whole life insurance or my 401k? That's how the conversation started. Do you know how the conversation ended? I said, well, what are you solving for? You're asking about insurance. You're asking about investments. That's a very small part of what you're trying to do in your entire life. And I said, a scale of 1 to 10, how happy, she's 33 years old. She's probably watching this right now. I won't say her name. I said, scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want a husband and family? She goes, 1,000. I go, how much of a focus is your career, is your job, climbing up the corporate ladder, the hierarchy? She goes, yeah, like a 6. And I go, if you could make double what you're making now, double. She said she's making like 75, 80 grand. If you can make double, but never have kids in a family, how would you feel about that? She goes, I'd probably kill myself.
Jeez.
So every conversation that I have with women out there, especially as they're getting older, the young girls never listen to a 22-year-old girl, ever. They think they're going to be hot and young forever. They think they're never going to want kids. I promise you, once you start to hit that 30 or 40s, especially as a woman, that maternal instincts are going to kick in. Here's a woman, she said, I totally regret going to grad school. I spent way too much time on school. I was focused on my career. I'm literally thinking about, I would kill, this is facetious, kill myself if I don't have kids. Every conversation I have with a woman, especially on Connect, it always gravitates to they want to have a ideal family life, kids. Now, I'm not saying that men aren't immune to that, but we all know the following, that women are beauty objects. They're meant to nurture
What I
and
wanna
be
know
feminine. Men.
How many
Men
of
are
these
success
girls
objects.
you have on Connect, the calls,
Yes.
that want to have kids with you? How many?
how many are
'cause I'm
pitching?
trying to find
0.
I'm trying to be an uncle,
Totally
man. I mean, this is like I got a Jew to my right and a Syrian to my left, and I'm trying to have some nephews and nieces.
We
here,
should
but
have another bed. But
Yeah.
And but you know what? A good follow-up question would have been, I'm very, very curious.
Do you want to have a kid with me, like for Anna?
100%.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
somebody asked her if you could go back and that decision of having a kid or not, would you do it? She probably wouldn't have.
No,
I think
that's
she
the
would have.
opposite of what she's saying. She's saying that
I think she
you
would
got to
have.
read the sarcasm.
Yeah.
You're a comedian, you get that. She's basically saying the kids ruined her career because she couldn't do both. But she said, they're my life, they're my joy. I wouldn't do this. I asked Candace Owens this exact same thing. I said, you've killed it. You're massive. You know, if you can only do one or the other, be a career woman, boss babe, CEO, or wife and mother. She goes, wife and mother, 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
If you think that making money and doing the Chelsea Handler route as a woman is going to make you happy in the end, you have another thing coming.
You're right.
Now, men just have the opportunity to wait a little while longer. Women can't wait until their 40s.
Yeah.
Some men like Vinny and I wait.
Oh, my sperm are frozen right now. They're just in a little thing. I'm joking. I didn't freeze my sperm. They're just like, hey, like
Don't
funny
kill
guys.
those embryos in Alabama, buddy.
Yeah, no.
I stand by what I said, but Lily Allen in particular, the back half of her answer, which I had not seen to the video, I respect the back half of her answer, and she moderated it and talked about them being her life and what she wants to do. But I stand by what I said about the people who, you know, decide that having kids was a mistake because the my couldn't attain this or that. It's like, come on.
Let's react to this, Rob. Go ahead and play this clip here. Go ahead. Hoda and Jenna.
Women that are initiating divorces in this country. I don't think the old statistics, I don't think that's how we think of it, you know?
No, we tend to think of divorce as like an older man, like leaving his, you know, wife
The
for a
tropes.
younger woman. And it's really women are breaking, and they're breaking, when you look at the statistics, they're breaking because of household chores, inequality, because they're being held back in their careers, because men add 7 hours of domestic labor a week to a woman's life, and a woman takes away like 3 hours from his life, and that's adding hours that like he's not doing, you know. So like these little inequalities add up, and I think especially since pandemic, women are just breaking, and they want another way out and another way to live.
I like the title of this book because it's so
And another way to live is to
jarring
get
in
a
way
divorce.
that how I left
Paula,
and
just
I
send this to me.
started my life as opposed to I started my life by getting married. That's the idea. Like you get married.
So, by
and
the way,
start a
pause
I gotta
it.
tell you, I think it should be illegal for women to just sit there and talk amongst each other.
You mean like The View?
If you don't have one man to G-check you,
like The View?
then they're just gonna go off on the anti-patriarchal rampage. Look, the whole point of having a guy with women is to basically say, yeah, I don't know about that, feminist, like to call them out. Because at the end of the day, they're all just gonna agree and realize the reality is women initiate 75 to 85% of divorces. They're the ones that file for divorce, not the men. So enough of this bullshit.
You mean to tell me you don't absolutely love The View with Whoopi and Joyce?
I wish that there was a dude in the middle of the
you were saying
table
something.
to call out this women's hypocrisy and ridiculousness.
Yeah, there's a lot of hypocrisy here. Like the men add 7 hours of domestic labor. I like to know what it is. You know, how does that add up? And men add 3 hours a week to the woman's wife. That's not true. It's 2 minutes and 7 seconds 3 times a week. I mean, what do you mean we add 3 hours?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Give
it a break.
Tom, did you just reveal a certain number? What?
Rob and I understand.
They text each other after 2 minutes. They're like, "You done? Yeah, I'm done too. All right, bro. I'll see you tomorrow on the podcast."
Dude.
Nah, but
Can we watch the Bond thing on TNT?
You know the thing is that you watch something like this, and you have two perspectives. One is saying, yeah, it did ruin my career. But guess what? If I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again, right? Because she is saying, but it's a choice I decided to make, right? So she's joking while she's saying that, but at the same time, while on the other side, like, no, that additional work and that labor, and this is why, and, you know, and, you know, Schultz told a joke, which was freaking amazing, the joke that he told. I love that joke. I'm not going to say it, but he said a joke that's,
the I and we joke.
I
so
loved that joke when I heard it. I mean, it was like fantastic on how he gave credit, and then he's like, hey, how about this? But yeah, it's you're living in an era right now where people are so flipping confused. When we were coming up, I had a couple of my guys, and I said this to girls, and I said this to guys. Any chance I get on who I was mentoring, I would always ask, who do you look up to? Like yesterday, we're having lunch with 6 of our new guys who are in sales, who are, you know, rising stars coming up. So I brought them to the house, and I do this on a monthly basis. I bring new stars of employees, and I bring them to the house and have lunch with them. And, you know, Alper makes his traditional, food, and we kind of go back and forth and have great conversations together. And one of the guys I asked, he was younger, and his hair was a little bit, he needed a haircut, okay? And if you're in sales and you're sitting on talking to people, you got to be presentable. And I asked the question, I said, let me ask you, who do you look up to? Who's your male figure in your life? He said, what do you mean? I said, I want you to think about it, because his female figure in his life was clear, mom. I said, who's the male example in your life that you follow? You know, for like 1 minute, he's just going like this, shaking his head. He can't think of anybody. Do you know how many people don't have that on the male or the female side? If you don't have an example, if you're dating a guy or a girl, and they don't have a man or a woman that they look up to and what their values are, if you ask and he says something like, you know, this kid, hey, I follow such and such. And he said, who is this guy? I follow, you know, this is my example of a man. This is my example of a woman. Yeah, bro, I'm not for you. You go find somebody else. Or change the people you look up to. Our people are looking at the wrong people right now. And these people you look up to, they're setting a bad example, and people are duplicating it. Kids need better examples of who to look up to. But if they don't have it, they're going to be confused by messages like this to say, this is the right thing to do. By the way, this is not just kids. We think that just kids need better people to look up to. You know who else needs better people to look up to? Adults, married men, married women, mothers, fathers, businessmen, businesswomen. It doesn't matter what it is. Everybody needs better examples to look up to. And the more and more I listen to Lily, good for you for, I think her daughters are 12 and 10 years old. And she seems like she's enjoying them. So more power to you. Respect for Lily for doing what she's doing. Okay, let's go to the next one here.